The story begins at the break of dawn. Lavon's alarm buzzes inside his old pickup truck where he spent the night. He stretches, wipes the sleep from his eyes, and gets ready to head out for another long day at the construction site. The men working under him greet him like an older brother, their respect for him quiet but strong. They all know the weight he carries on his shoulders. To them, Lavon isn't just a supervisor, he's the kind of man who's been through storms and still stands tall. The site belongs to Garcia and Family Construction, a family business run by Joe, his wife Carla, and their daughter Jenny. Lavon treats them with the kind of loyalty you give friends who've earned your trust. Just as the crew gets moving, Jenny playfully corners her father, asking for a hefty chunk of cash to celebrate the end of her first semester in college. Joe refuses at first, but a single look from Carla softens him. He sighs and gives in. But the light morning mood shifts fast when Lavon spots a truck creeping toward the site. Two men step out, trouble written all over their faces. They corner one of the workers, reminding him of an unpaid debt. Lavon doesn't hesitate. Without a single word, he grabs a bucket of nails and moves with sharp, military precision. One well-aimed strike is enough to make them stumble back. They get the message, intimidation won't fly here. This isn't his first fight. Before construction, Lavon wore a uniform. And when more men show up, this time armed, he doesn't blink. A sack of cement flies through the air like a grenade, buying him enough time to retrieve a hidden shotgun. What follows is fast, brutal, and efficient. By the time the dust settles, those men know not to come back. Jenny, still in shock, watches from a distance. She walks up to him slowly, amazed. "Incredible," she whispers. Lavon just shrugs it off and goes back to work. Later that afternoon, he drives over to his father-in-law's house to see his daughter, Mary. He's supposed to take her for their weekly walk. But when he gets there, the place is filled with people. The family doctor brushes him off, saying it's just a small gathering and, honestly, he'd forgotten Lavon was coming. The conversation quickly turns sour. The old man reminds Lavon that he wasn't there when his wife passed and that, unlike her grandfather, he won't always be around to raise Mary. He throws Lavon's military past at him like a weapon, calling him dangerous. But to Mary, her dad is a hero. A man who spoils her every chance he gets. Over lunch, Lavon gently slides a small photograph across the table, a picture of Mary with her late mother. Mary lowers her gaze, her voice cracking as she admits her grandfather took down every photo of her mom. Over the years, she started to forget her face. She confesses that after her mother died, the grief nearly consumed her. Not long after, Lavon sits across from lawyers. He wants full custody of his daughter. But the room goes cold when they tell him the court labeled him unstable, PTSD, traumatic brain injury from his military service. A danger in their eyes. To make things worse, his father-in-law is pushing to reduce his time with Mary even more, from 2 supervised hours a week to 1. Lavon explains he's saved $10,000 to hire a stronger legal defense. One of the lawyers asks why the old man hates him so much. Lavon answers quietly, the man blames him for his wife's death. But he wasn't even there. He was overseas on duty. That same night, Jenny and her friends hit the town with fake IDs, laughing and carefree. Meanwhile, Lavon holes up in a cheap room, trying to build his custody case. But the walls feel like they're closing in. Jenny's night, on the other hand, takes a dark turn. A mysterious couple follows her group from bar to bar. Inside, Jenny meets Johnny, a smooth talker tied to the couple. When one of her friends gets sick, Jenny escorts her to the bathroom. But when she returns, the predators are waiting. It happens fast. A hand clamps over her mouth. A car door slams shut. Jenny vanishes into the night. Come Monday morning, Lavon walks onto the construction site to find police officers filing out of Joe's office. The moment he sees Carla's face, he knows something's wrong. Jenny's been missing since Friday. By Sunday, hope had already begun to fade. Carla's voice trembles. The police don't care, she says. To them, Jenny's just another missing girl. Joe and Carla know Lavon's past. They also know what he's capable of. They offer him $70,000 to bring Jenny back. But he refuses. He's walked away from that life. That evening, Lavon visits Gunny, an old war buddy who greets him with a warning shot, a stray arrow that nearly ends their reunion early. Gunny's blind but not helpless. As they eat, Gunny senses the weight on Lavon's shoulders. Jenny's name comes up, and Gunny doesn't need to hear more. He knows Lavon's mind is already made up. Then go get her, he says simply. Later that night, Lavon finds Carla alone. Joe's upstairs, replaying old videos of Jenny playing the piano, his heart breaking in the quiet. Lavon remembers how the Garcias stood by him after his wife died, when everyone else disappeared. He makes a silent vow. He'll bring Jenny home. The city is soon plastered with missing posters. Lavon starts his hunt at the bar. Johnny's too calm for someone innocent. Lavon notices the security footage is tampered with. Out back, a single pearl from Jenny's necklace glints in the dark. When Johnny drives home, Lavon tails him like a shadow. Johnny never sees him coming. Inside the house, Lavon moves with the same icy precision that scared off the thugs at the sight. He corners Johnny in the bathroom, forcing his head underwater again and again until the man cracks. Johnny warns him, these people don't just kill, they erase entire bloodlines. Lavon doesn't care. Suddenly, headlights flood the windows. Men shout Johnny's name. Johnny screams back, and bullets tear through the door. Lavon reacts instantly, using Johnny as a shield, taking down the attackers with chilling ease. One look at their tattoos and the puzzle clicks. Russian mob. When their boss, arrives later with his cleanup crew, Lavon is already gone, but not before jotting down the company details. From a safe distance, he watches as they erase the crime scene. He tails them back to a sprawling mansion. From the shadows, he sees Was slap his wife across the face, then storm off. Lavon slips inside unnoticed. Cameras catch every step, but he doesn't care. When Wa wakes up, he's tied to a chair by the pool. Lavon lays out the rules. He asks, Wa answers. When Wa tries to intimidate him, Lavon punches him twice, one for every time he slapped his wife. I'm not here for your money, Lavon growls. I'm here for the girl. Wa finally coughs up a name, Demi. And somewhere, deep inside a network of criminals, a dangerous man takes notice of Lavon's hunt. Jenny, meanwhile, is still alive. Her captors are growing tired of her defiance. She pleads for her life, but they shut her down. The next morning, Lavon calls in a favor from an old friend at the Justice Department. Demi's name lights up their database. He's tied to military brass and Russian trafficking. A location surfaces, a shady underground club. That night, Lavon walks through its doors. Security spots the weapon in his pocket, but a fat roll of cash buys him entrance to the back room. There he meets Dutch, a man who doesn't trust easily. When they try to throw Lavon out, he moves like a storm. The fight is fast, ugly, and one-sided. Dutch finally stops it, realizing Lavon's no cop. Just a soldier. Lavon pretends to be in the drug business. Dutch hands him the coordinates for a pickup. The next day, after making the payment, they tell him they'll get to know him better first. But Dutch later reveals the drugs are already in his car seat. Lavon tosses them later. Jenny's situation worsens. A wealthy client demands another night with her for $1 million. She fights back, biting a chunk out of his face. Dutch calls Lavon, inviting him to an exclusive gathering. There, dressed sharp and unarmed, Lavon finally meets Demi face to face. The air is thick. Demi sizes him up, suspicious but intrigued. Lavon plays the part well and walks away alive. Later, he studies Jenny's photos. He spots a man in the background, Viper. A lead. Back at the bar, he hunts him down. But the Russians find him first. A violent chase erupts, ending with Lavon captured by corrupt cops on their payroll. Inside a van, they torture him for answers. But Lavon turns the tide. He fights like a cornered animal. Bullets fly, the drivers hit, and the van crashes into a river. Lavon kills the survivors and sinks the evidence. Simon, the mafia patriarch, mourns his sons. He calls for war. Meanwhile, Jenny's defiance has made her captor's client furious. They're ordered to kill her. But Simon's war council isn't unanimous. Some want her gone. Others want Lavon dead first. That same night, Lavon receives a call, Mary's still at school. When he arrives at his father-in-law's house, the place is on fire. He charges through the smoke to save the old man tied up inside. Outside, the man blames him for the danger. Mary stands up for her father. With no choice, the old man lets Lavon protect her. He takes her to Gunny's place. Gunny senses the storm coming. Lavon loads up on weapons. Before leaving, he hands Mary his badge and promises he'll come back. Meanwhile, Jenny manages to escape her captors in the forest after a car crash. She runs toward a police cruiser only to realize too late they work for the mob. They take her deeper into the woods to finish the job. But the client's call changes everything. Back at Demi's hideout, Lavon arrives like a ghost. One by one, he eliminates the guards, moving through the property like a predator. When he finally corners Demi, the man tries bargaining for his life by giving up Jenny's location. As they drive, Demi mocks him, asking why he'd risk everything for someone who isn't family. Lavon doesn't answer. Demi wouldn't understand. Jenny is being held at a secluded property hosting a private event. Inside, she sits at a piano, playing softly her last act before the nightmare ends. Outside, Lavon gears up for war. His infiltration is surgical, quite efficient. But when the first explosion hits, the quiet turns into chaos. Guards fall. Screams echo through the halls. Dutch's men arrive too, turning the entire place into a battlefield. Lavon fights like a man with nothing to lose. When he finally finds Jenny, Viper is the first to fall. Artemis follows soon after. But Simon's men swarm the compound. Lavon doesn't flinch. He cuts through them with ruthless precision, grabs Jenny, and speeds away on a motorcycle as Simon watches from the shadows. Back home, Jenny's parents collapse into her arms. Tears, relief, gratitude. And in that moment, Lavon feels something he hasn't in a long time: peace. When he returns to Mary, she runs to him, clinging tight. For now, the storm has passed. He kept his promise.